Hey everybody, this is Laura at Lil Inker Designs. How are you? Nice to see you here. I'm here because I'd like to show you all of the goodies that we're getting ready to release in the new store in September 2015. As you might be able to see behind me, we're getting ready to release items for Halloween and some items for Thanksgiving, but lots more too. It's a kind of a cool release because we've been able to build on items that we previously released in the store for Halloween. It really stretches your goodies. It stretches your dollar as well. So if you're interested in seeing everything we're getting ready to put in the store on September 3rd, and maybe even how I've made some of the projects here behind me, then just keep on watching. Thanks. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about today is our brand new Teacher Talk stamp set. So as you can see, we've done an updated modern take on a traditional apple element, and I call it modern just because it has this cute little heart center and then the heart for the leaf on top, and I just love the way that looks. These are really fun to work with. So you'll see that we have one large teacher greeting or teacher word stamp here, and then coordinating sentiments. And I don't know, I just really like the way this looks because you can, give it this more modern look, but of course we've included some traditional elements, in case you prefer a more traditional looking apple, and it can be used for so many different reasons. So, give it to a teacher that you appreciate or thanking them for a great year. But it can also be used for other purposes, just like thank you with a cute little apple, or you're awesome. So lots of different possibilities here with this stamp set, which I think you're really going to love. And of course, it wouldn't be complete if we didn't give you a word die to go with it, right? So here we've done the teacher stamp in this set, but we've given it to you in a word die, which you can actually see is on my card here. And it's about the exact same size as the sentiment in the stamp set, maybe just a little bit larger. So we have that for you. And then of course I had to give you some apple dies. So what you can do with this is a whole bunch of different things really. In my card here, I just die cut the main apple after I stamped, and they line up perfectly. They're hollowed out. You can see that there. Or you can take this extra heart and cut out the center or die cut the leaves. So the great thing about this is that these dies can be used separately and cut from colored cardstock to build an apple, or in conjunction with the stamp set, or mixed and matched like I did here. So I'm really excited about this because it's a set that we haven't done. It's a sentiment that we haven't been able to provide you yet, something special for teachers, but that can be taken a little step further. Here's a card that I made. Teacher, you're appreciated. I used my teacher word die and my stamps, and also featured here are our anytime tag dies, and I did this on a little acetate card, which I thought was kind of fun with some cute little elements here. So I'm going to give that to my son's new teacher. So I'm really excited about those. It was hard to put them down. I want to show you our new So Thankful stamp set and So Thankful label die. So this is a stamp set that is perfect for two purposes. It gives you 6 greetings, and in total there are 3 for Thanksgiving, and then there are 3 that have more of a general give thanks purpose. So they're all done in this really fun, hand-drawn. I really am digging. It's just so fresh and so fun. What I really like about this stamp set is that we've given you this label frame stamp, and it fits just about all of these greetings. And of course we had to give you the coordinating label die. So what you can do is die cut this from any colored cardstock and then use the frame to adorn the edges and stamp inside with this stamp set, but because this is so versatile, you can use this with lots of other greetings that you might already have in your collection, which I really like. Here is a card that I made using this set. And you can see that I used a vanilla cardstock die cut and then stamped in orange around the edge and red with my sentiment, which I just love the way that looks. My turkeys and chocolate, and then I backed it with our new Rapper's Delight lattice die, which I am just digging this. I can't even tell you. It is the coolest, most retro looking pattern, but at the same time, it's perfect for fall and Thanksgiving. I thought it was a great backer for our pumpkins that I'll be showing you in just a second. And I'm just really digging this. It's really cool. Digging how this turned out. These sentiments stamped beautifully. This was easy to line up. It's fun. You're gonna love working with this set. So now I have for you probably some of my favorite things that we are releasing in September. We have this Scene on Halloween stamp set, and we have the coordinating Scene on Halloween dies. So as you can see, we have a witch, a cat, a ghost, a witch's hat, and a couple of little pumpkins. I don't know if you can tell in the video, and I hate to lift this closer because I think we lose focus a little bit, but these are all fantastic silhouette images for Halloween, but inside are the most beautifully hand-drawn sentiments. The witch is best witches, the cat is boo to you, the ghost is ghoulish greetings and happy trick-or-treating, the hat is eat, drink, and be scary. We have a pumpkin that can be used for something other than Halloween. In all things, give thanks. So adds a little versatility to this stamp set. And then the larger pumpkin is have a happy Halloween. These are so pretty. I can't even tell you. They're fun. They're funky. The best part about them is that you get to cut them out with this rockin' die set. Now, before I talk about this, you might see some familiar images in this set, and you'd be right. So a couple years ago, actually, we released our bats and broomsticks products, and it's this witch die on her broom and a coordinating stamp set. Now, these were huge sellers. People love them. I love them too. And I thought, well, instead of reinventing the wheel, why don't I just use that witch stamp and breathe new life into her? So that's just what I've done. So if you already own our bats and broomsticks die, then you already have a way to cut this lady out. And she's cool, let me tell you. Now, if you don't already own this, we have plenty of them in stock. It's super affordable, and it would be a really fun addition to this stamp set if you love it. The other thing that we previously released an image is this stitched ghost, or the coordinating die is in our stitched ghost die set. So here's that die set. It was a trio. We did these last year, wildly popular. They're an adorable shape. But they also have our dual stitching invention on them. So we have a stitched ghost that this will cut, and then we have the stitching on the outer cut line, so you can leave a hole in a card front and have stitching around your ghost hole. I guess that's what you can call it. So if you have this die set, then you already have a way to cut out this stamp and use it on any card front, which is super cool. So let's talk about the remainder of the shapes and the dies in this set. So probably the easiest two to talk about first are the witch hat and the cat. The cat is just a plain die cut, and I decided to do that because once I added in the dual stitching around the outside, it's sort of an amoeba shape, really. I mean, you know that it's a cat, but I didn't feel like the dual stitching really added anything to this negative cut, so I left that off. It also kept the die set a little bit smaller, which means it's more affordable for you, but I did add the dual stitching to the witch hat. So, I mean, you look at that die cut out from a card base and you know exactly what it is. So it just made sense to adorn that shape with some negative stitching. So you'll be able to trim out your cat and trim out your witch hat and use them on different cards like I've done here. I'll just show you really quick. So these are just a couple of little cards I made to make a cute little Halloween card set. It also features our stitched wood grain die. It's a cover-up die that we did, I believe, last release. So I stamped my cat in yellow and my hat in purple. So after I added in some twine, I called it a day because these are so super cute. My favorite parts about this die set and this stamp set together have to be these pumpkins. I have been dying to give you stitched pumpkins for a really long time. I've had people email us and say, where are they? And I just needed to make them the best that they could be. The pumpkin shapes with the sentiments in them. Remember, the larger one is have a very happy Halloween, and the smaller one is in all thing give thanks. Now the stamp set includes the little stem topper stamps so that you can stamp these in orange or yellow or what have you, and then pick your stem to coordinate. This one with this one and this one with this one, and do them in green or do them in brown or however you like. And then, once you've got that whole image stamped, you can then take your die, line it up. It will fit perfectly, even if you didn't perfectly stamp it, because I gave it a little bit of wiggle room, and it will cut out your whole pumpkin shape. And I can show you how I did that on this. This is the third card from that little card set that I made. So this was, I think it was archival in Venetian orange. So it's sort of like a pinky, yellowy orange. And then you can see I added in my green stem, die cut it out, and then behind it I stamped this little curly Q vine and teeny tiny little leaf in green ink. And I mean, these are just perfect. So this is just one example of how the pumpkin dies in this stamp set can be used. Again, each of them feature dual stitching. Now, that is, again, just one way those pumpkin dies can be used. The next way is here. So actually, this is die, these guys are die cut a couple of different times, and I'll explain that in a minute. So I started out with my large pumpkin die from orange paper, and then if you notice inside here nested are these curved, I guess we can call them like the pumpkin texture, like pumpkin body texture. I'm not really sure what to call them, but it's a stitching detail that's optional. So this set is wired together. This die inside can be snipped out with your wire cutting pliers, which I highly recommend because then it gives you that dual functionality. If you don't think you're going to use it that way, it can certainly be left in place, and then you're die cutting the perfect pumpkin. And as you can see here, you've got these adorable little stitching details on the front of your pumpkin. And I just love the way that looks. So it can be plain, or it can have these little stitching textures, and I just think that's so fun. And we've done that in the die set for both pumpkin sizes. They can be used in that same way in both shapes. Moving along, you can see how inside the smaller pumpkin, or I should really call them the taller pumpkin, we've got a couple of stem dies. So you can see that I cut my stems from this baked brown sugar paper, and then my leaves too, which I die cut a couple of times from green, and I built these guys. But what you might be wondering about are these adorable faces. So that pretty much completes this die set. It is phenomenal. Even if you get it just for the pumpkins alone, it is worth its weight in gold. But it is absolutely amazing to have this full companion stamp set to go along with it. If you love Halloween as much as I do, then totally treat yourself to the Bats and Broomsticks goodies from a couple of years ago, because it'll really take this die set places. But if you are more of a ghost fan than a witch fan, then I highly, highly recommend that you get the stitched ghosts, because this is just such a fun stamp to use with that die set. Let me go right into showing you the pumpkin faces dies. This is new to our release this month, and you'll see it's a set, I think it's 6, 2, 4, yep, 6, wired together, and they are quite literally just faces that you can die cut from these pumpkins. Now, I think you could probably use them like maybe one of the very smaller ones in the pumpkin, in the cat head, but I really designed them with our pumpkins in mind. But also, they can be used on the stitched ghosts that we released last year. They'll coordinate with that, but they'll also coordinate with the ghost border die that we did last year. If you might remember this guy. It's so funny seeing this in its die format because it looks like almost nothing. And I don't have a sample for you handy, but this creates just the coolest ghost shape border that you can add to a card front, and a lot of the faces, if not all of them, probably the smaller of them, will fit inside here in addition to the 3 faces that we gave you with this die set. And I don't know, it's just super fun if you can mix and match and combine all of these things. It adds versatility to the goodies that you might already have, and it just takes the new goodies to great places. So as you can see here in this card, which I am loving and probably will not give away, it's one of those. I used the larger face on my orange pumpkin, and then I used this smaller happy face that kind of looks up and away on my taller pumpkin. And both of these were backed with foam dots and adhered to this like honey colored cardstock. I just liked that raising these up with foam really made them look like they were lit from within. So I was going for a little bit more of an authentic look there, which I really like. It's a total happy accident that these teeny tiny little googly eyes fit absolutely perfectly inside those pumpkin eyes. Didn't plan it, just happened that way through experimentation. That's gonna be some of my most favorite things that happen when I craft with our goodies, is that I find like all these little different things like, oh, this fit within there and I didn't even plan that. I don't know, that's just really fun to me. So as you can see on this taller pumpkin, then I even took some little rhinestones and gave his eyes a little definition. I don't know, I'm just totally digging these supplies. I have a lot more projects to show you with them too, and I'm just really excited about them. I hope you are too. Definitely my favorite things from this release. So the Scene on Halloween stamps, Scene on Halloween coordinating dies, pumpkin faces dies. Definitely put them in your cart because I don't think that they're gonna last very long. So let's move on then to a couple of other things, and I will show you our brand new Boo word die. So last year we did a spooky word die, you might remember, and it had this cute little face built into the O's in spooky. It was a huge hit. People loved it. It sold out almost immediately. And I really wanted to capitalize on the Halloween word dies because I just thought you enjoyed them so much and they made for such super easy greetings. So I gave you this Boo word die, and this is what it looks like. So it's actually a 2-step die. I guess you could call it that when you go to glue it down, because I did not include the dot on the exclamation point as part of the die. It's a separate piece, so you'll have 2 pieces to glue. What I really liked is how it really fit quite nicely over our largest pumpkin, and again that pumpkin was die cut twice. Once the body from orange cardstock and then his little body texture stitching as a second step, and then I added in the topper and the leaf. Plopped these guys up with some foam dots on some really fun paper that I picked up last year at Target. Again, Boo word die, super fun. Add it to your collection. It's extremely affordable. It makes for very quick and easy Halloween greeting cards. I also used it on this card here, which I really like as well. And I kind of did, I don't know, some non-traditional colors here with craft and honey and this like blushy pinky color. One of the other things that I might point out here is that our Starry Sky die, which we released a couple of years ago, it's this guy right here. This is a great addition for Halloween. I mean, it can be used for a million different things, but I just love it for Halloween cards. In case you're not familiar with this die, it's exactly 5.5 inches high, or tall, and it will cut out a smattering of stars as though they were splashed across the sky. But the neat thing about it is that we built in this gutter here, which you can barely see unless I were to call attention to it, so that you can put it on an A2 card on the short side for $1.25, and none of the stars will cut like right to the edge of the paper. So it like has just a teensy weensy border, which I really like because then everything falls within the limits of the card. Another fun thing for Halloween cards are our stitch stars, and these also were one of the first die sets that we released with our dual stitching that we started back in 2013. And then here you can see that I stamped and embossed this little chalkboard hang tag with a face stamp, and that's something that I haven't shown you yet. So let me introduce you to, this is our Boo & Faces 2 stamp set. So last year we released the Boo & Faces stamp set. It's this guy here, and it was a really popular seller. Just a couple of little sentiments and then plenty of stamps to adorn on your stitched ghost die set, your ghost border die set, and people loved it, and I'm glad that they did. And when I started creating for this year and said, well, I want to do more than just face dies for this pumpkin, so what am I going to do? And I found myself taking the pumpkin die faces shapes and making them into stamps, except changing the size up a little bit so that they were a little bit more user-friendly for some other dies in our collection. So in other words, I actually designed these so that they fit our pumpkins, perfectly, the new ones. They fit some of the ghosts. The teeny ones will fit the smaller ghosts. I mean, I really tried to think of all things so that everything could be used together. But what's really fun is that a lot of these faces will fit on our connected circle die. This is our connected circle die. I'll turn it upside down, and as you can see, you can make a little row that will go across your card with these little connected circles, and you can stamp on them. And if you use the stems in either the stamp set for Scene on Halloween or the Scene on Halloween die set, then you can turn these row of circles into little pumpkins. How about that? We included a smaller stamp, Boo stamp. It's the same as our Boo word die. It's just a little bit smaller. And then we included a Wicked stamp. And then I'm giving you a couple of options here for buildable sentiments. A sentiment that says, "All my best ghoul friends are total witches." I just thought that was adorable. So I think that wraps this stamp set up. I love it. It's fun. It's 3x4. You get a ton of different things to do with it, and it's $10. Add it to your cart. You'll love being able to stamp these little faces on your pumpkins, on your ghosts, and tons of other things. And like totally on their own too, to make just a card front with spooky faces stamps. How fun would that be? So last but not least in our release is this really fun Here for the Booze, that's BOOS stamp set. Yep, that's right, Here for the Booze. And this might not be a stamp set for everybody, and that's totally okay. I just happen to think that Booze and Booze was just too adorable, and I had to bring it to you in a stamp set. I brought you a stamp set that says, "Join us for Booze and Booze." Again, might not be a sentiment for everybody, but if you think it's hilarious, pop it in your cart. Stamp set can do a lot more than just be tongue-in-cheek with that sentiment. We have an Eat, Drink, and Be Scary. You can say just a general Happy Halloween or Have a Happy Halloween. Join us for a spooktacularly spirited evening. So this stamp set says lots of things. My personal favorite just happens to be that tongue-in-cheek sentiment. And as you can see here, this was just super fast and easy to come together. I used our Stitched Ghost, the largest one, the cute little face stamp from the Boo and Faces 2, which I just showed you. I mean, really, how cute is that? That little goofy smile, I love it. And then these are our Pinking Edge Sentiment Flags dies, so I stamped right on that. And before I continue, I have to thank Sarah J., our design team member. She was an enormous help, if not some of the driving force behind a lot of these things. So we collabed basically on just about everything for Halloween that you see here, and it was fun to do. We got really excited about creating for this release, and I just owe Sarah a ginormous thank you very much for your help with all of this stuff. So thank you. There are a couple of things I'd like to talk about with you. And that is this guy. This is our classic Halloween stamp set. And as of the date of filming this video, I'm not exactly sure what the special is going to be, but check with us on release day because we have a decent number of these in stock. I just am obsessed with the largest stamp in the stamp set and some of the ghosts. And so what I'm gonna do is like spend X amount of dollars, add this to your cart for X amount or X amount off. So be watching for a sale on our classic Halloween stamp set. Some other things that we've released in the past, which are actually on sale that we have just a limited quantity of, are these three guys. This is the Carving Pumpkins, this is the Best Witches, and then of course this is Thanksgiving Wishes, and obviously for Thanksgiving. So these are each $6, marked down from $10. They're from many years ago now at this point, which is fine. They're still fantastic. Even if you may not be a fan of these vintage inspired images, the greetings in this stamp set. I mean, you can get all three of these for just a little bit more than what you'd pay for a full 4x6 stamp set, and you have a ton of greetings for Halloween and Thanksgiving. I just think that that is such a great value. So now, if you're still here, you're awesome. I figured I'd give you a little sneak peek of some things that are coming up. So I have a list about a mile long for a stamp set that has been out of stock for a really long time called Nuts About You Acorn Sentiments. And well, I just couldn't reproduce it the way it was. It was one of the first stamp sets we did, and I thought we could do a lot better. So it was very last minute, so they're not yet in stock, but they will be very soon. I might even think about putting up a pre-sale for these. This is our new and improved Nuts About You stamp set for 2015. And basically what I did here are a couple different things. I changed the font on the stamp set. Still a whimsical, quirky font, but just slightly more modern. The sentiments are basically the same, but I took some out, added some in. My favorite is You're a Little Nutty, and in parentheses, I like that, or It Runs in the Family. I mean, that's hilarious. And what I also did is I made the faces that you can stamp right onto your acorn stamp or die, which I'll get to in a minute. I made them a little bit bigger. And then I changed up our acorn. We had a great acorn stamp in our original, and we have a great coordinating original die. There was nothing wrong with them, it's just that I wanted to make a little bit of a change. So I basically did nothing to the cap, I just made the bottom just a wee bit fatter. So my acorn has a fatter bum. Well, so do I this year. And I just thought, well, let's do it for the acorn too. Oh my gosh. So, okay, the bottom on my acorn, it features this little stitching detail. It's totally adorable, and you're gonna love this. If you were waiting for this stamp set and you loved the original, you're gonna even be more in love with the updated version of this. So we couldn't only just update the stamp set, we updated the die set too. Now, this again was a last minute decision of mine. So these are still in production. I don't even have a new sample yet, but I can tell you quickly that it is the exact same size as the cap and bottom in this stamp set. So I don't know, that kind of gives you a good size idea of what these are gonna be like. Also, we gave you more sizes, which is really exciting. So our original die set was just one cap, one bottom, and a leaf, and now I've given you the ability to make 3 acorns in 3 different sizes, and I've given you 2 leaves, and I think you're gonna love it. Also coming back to the store are 2 other stamp sets that are really popular but needed some new life, I thought. First one is our pinwheel sentiments. They have been out of stock for a dog's age, and it's basically because this was the second stamp set that we ever produced, and that was, oh pillow, that was 5 years ago, and it could have been better, and I wanted to give you a stamp set that was the best it could be. I just think you're gonna love this. If you've been waiting for this stamp set to come back into stock, you're gonna be pleasantly surprised how nicely these updated, larger sentiments pair with both our mini pinwheel and original pinwheel dies. Yay! Also, I have a list a mile long for our rainbows and clouds sentiments and also our sunshine sentiment stamps. And so instead of producing 2 stamp sets and having you have to pay for each one of those, I took the best of each of those stamp sets and I married it into one 4x6 stamp set that, you know, the best from each of those, and I gave it a fresh new font. And I think you're gonna love this. This font is just like the line weight is like the perfect width. So when you stamp them in black, they're just like, bam, I love them. I'll lay out my cards for you to see one more time. Oh, I don't think I went into detail on our Rapper's Delight die, but let me just tell you, it's phenom. Look at that, look at how pretty that is on my background. So here are my cards. I'll be talking about these on my blog post for new release week. Love this guy. Gonna make some Halloween invitations. Love this. Never sending it out. Gonna put it on my bulletin board somewhere. And then, I don't know, do you guys ever do that? You just like what you make so much that you don't want to give it out? I kind of do that a lot, but that's okay, because I need samples every once in a while for things. Am I being greedy? I might be. And then these cute little card trios. Oh, and don't forget about the apples. The apples rock. Okay, so I have a lot of things that I made, and I love them all. I really, really enjoyed creating for this release. I had a blast. There were so many different things to pick and choose. There were so many fun things that, you know, mixed and matched and went together or complemented, you know, new things in our collection. I'm really excited about everything here. I think this is going to be a fantastic release. I hope you'll join us starting on September 3rd with our release, which will be 3 Blog Cop days. You know that we always give away lots of prizes, at least 3 $15 gift certificates for just hopping along and commenting. And that pretty much does it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye!